Hello everyone! Almost 2 years ago I released a video about my experience with Solo Guam. Stop! Do you see the issue? I said I would make another video about how I cleared all Eye of the North dungeons in normal mode. And I never did. And it's a shame because it was a very interesting and challenging experience, at least for some of the dungeons. So I decided to invest a bit of time to make this video before having forgotten everything I wanted to share. The reason why dungeons are hard is mostly because of the final boss that waits at the end of each dungeon. These final bosses usually are a bit different from normal bosses you encounter. They can have the advantages of both prophecies and faction bosses. The duration of hexes and conditions is cut by half, the activation time of their skills is cut by half as well, and the damage they do is doubled. Some of them also have terrifying monster skills. I think everyone remembered the first time they met Duncan and were like, wait, this guy reflects all the damage he takes, that's busted. Let's continue with the fact that they usually have a big number of HP and, as far as I remember, but I might be wrong about that, they never run out of energy. And last but not least, some of them have a huge health regen, higher than the +3 health regen most bosses naturally have. One of the consequences is that the fight lasts for a long time, which means that some tactics I used with my usual builds were less efficient or even not available at all. And of course, the build still needed to be good enough to get past the normal enemies, and no need to precise that some of them are a bit annoying even in normal mode. So here is the list of Eye of the North dungeons. I lied a little bit when I said I did all dungeons. I didn't do these two. Not because they are hard, they are probably the easiest, but because I'm not using PvE skills from Eye of the North on my character, and I don't even want to have them offered when I press K. And these two require you to accept the reward and get PvE skills, so let's remove them. And now let's rank them from the hardest to the easiest in my opinion, at least solo and from what I remember. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the easy ones, I'm just sharing some screenshots with you if ever you are interested in the build I used for these. I was not so confident for some of them, especially Uspit, Rhaegar's Menagerie, and Frostmoth's Burrow, but yeah, it ended up being fine. Little gap of difficulty and rewrite to Heart of Shiverpeaks, which required first to kill all the enemies and especially the Oozes in the last room, but they can be pulled separately, and second to kill Magmus, which required a bit of dodging skill, well-placed diversions, and to spam Wastrel's Brewery.
Ce serait bien de lui dire la flamme liquide mais pas la chaleur de ça. Nickel. Parce que là maintenant il va me donner de l'énergie avec sa chaleur de ça. Alors l'idéal ce serait qu'il la lance quand il est dans le feu. Oh. Donc le prochain truc qu'il récupère c'est Phoenix. Ok.
Vloxen Excavations is the number 6. Zoldark, the final boss, was not that bad cause he cannot regen his HP, but the enemies on the way to this guy were very annoying. Dwarves in the first level and undeads that automatically raise in the last level. but I managed. We entered the top 5 with Sepulchre of Dragrimmar, and here with the boss that can snare, it became obvious that I could not simply use my PI build anymore. I could not simply spike him because he has too much HP, I could not abuse Leash Range because he snares, I could not out-heal the damage either. So I came up with the Signet of Illusions build. With this build I'm very tanky because Signet of Illusions allow me to have 16 Earth Magic, so plus 84 armor with Kinetic Armor. 16 energy storage when casting Aura of Restoration, which allows me to heal a lot and gain 1 energy every time I cast a spell. 16 Inspiration, which allows me to heal for 204 with Either Fist and gain 33 energy when I erupt a spell with Power Drain, while still having 16 Domination Magic to deal damage with Wastrel and Backfire. And you see that despite my high armor, he deals like 50 damage with his spells. The fight lasted for about 23 minutes. Number 4 is Kathandrax, basically the same build idea than in Dragrimmar, but you change the water Eliboss into a fire Eliboss. You also add 2 rolling big burning balls that kill you if you touch one of them. And the boss has 2 monster skills. One throws a bomb on you, and if you don't dodge the projectile, the only way to avoid taking damage is to drop the bomb and to move away from it. The second one reflects all the damage the boss takes, so I can basically kill myself if I use Backfire while he reflects damage. Both skills can be interrupted, but it's honestly completely random since the cast time is less than half a second. There is one thing that completely saves the fight: the boss cannot regen HP, so I could die or run away to regen, all good. The fight lasted for about 20 minutes and was kind of interesting overall, to be honest. Good feeling also when you kill such a boss. Number 3 is Shards of Orr. This dungeon shows the limit of the Signet of Illusions build. It doesn't work at all if there is enchantment removal, and Fendi can remove enchantments. Hopefully Fendi doesn't have too many skills, so diversion and erupts can help. If ever you don't know how Fendi works, so the boss has 2 phases, Fendi and the Soul of Fendi. To complete the dungeon, you need to kill the Soul of Fendi. When you bring Fendi to 0 HP, he gets replaced by the Soul of Fendi for about 30 seconds. After the 30 seconds, Fendi is back and you need to bring him to 0 HP again to spawn the Soul. But the biggest issue is that Fendi is not alone. He has 6 rangers with him, who get raised and turned into 6 ritualists when you kill him, and who get raised again as ranger when the soul disappears. So here is how I did it. First, I killed the ranger at one location.
Oui, on a du courage, on a du courage. Heureusement qu'on perd du malus en les tuant, hein, franchement.
Then I pulled Fendi away, killed him.
Oh, nope.
The ritualists spawned where the rangers died, so I was fine and could fight the soul, which required me to erupt toxic chill, otherwise it was way too much damage for me to survive. Before the soul was replaced by Fendi and the rangers again, I left the fight. Then I could again kill the rangers and so on. Still, this fight lasted for about 35 minutes. Number 2 is Bogroot Growths. In this one you can choose between fighting a mesmer or a Rit boss. The mesmer boss felt way harder, so I went for the Rit. Like the AD bosses from Dragrimmar and Kathandrax, this boss deals a huge amount of damage and has a high HP pool. And he also has a very high health regen. So again, Signet of Illusions was the solution, even though it made the path to the boss a nightmare, cause killing the enemies with only backfire and wastrels as damage skills is not that easy. And I could not afford bringing a running skill. So yeah, again a 30-minute fight against the boss. And number 1, of course, is Slaver's Exile. I'm not gonna talk a lot about the first 4 bosses you need to kill to open the way to Duncan the Black. It was honestly not that bad with my PI build and the experience I had playing solo. But then came Duncan the Black, and on my first attempt I arrived to this boss with my PI build and realized again and more than ever how crazy strong this boss is. So he is a Rit with channeling skills that deal a lot of damage. There are spirits all over the place that automatically raise at some point. He has a huge pool of HP, 19k HP in normal mode according to Guild Wars Wiki. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that 1, 200% of the direct damage he takes is reflected to you, which means that if you deal 50 damage to him, you are immediately gonna take 100 damage yourself. This ability cannot be removed. And 2, he has a natural +7 health regen. Do you see the problem? Even if you completely forget about the other issues, he heals for 14 HP each second. So you need to at least deal 14 damage per second to kill him. But if you deal 14 damage per second, it means that you suffer from at least 28 damage per second. Which is basically like if you had Illusion of Pain at 14 illusion magic on you all the time, just because of the damage you deal. And on top of that, you add back everything else. I couldn't see a way of bringing Signet of Illusions here because my enchantments would have been stripped by the spirits all the time and the damage reflection was too strong. But I still had an idea to circumvent the reflect damage ability, use health degen. And Migraine especially felt appealing because it's a -8 health degen, so it completely stops his healing ability. Plus, it increases the casting time of the spells, which makes him easier to rep and reduces the damage. This opened up the ability to be an assassin as secondary profession, and therefore to take swap, which allowed me to move the spirits away. But there still was a big issue, how to manage my energy. Since because of nature resistance, I had to cast Migraine every 10 seconds on the boss. And here a Twitch chat viewer who became a great solo player later came up with a great idea. Place the spirit so that you can use channeling to gain energy. Thank you Rage for this idea. My build was perfect. As you can imagine, it took a long time to get to Duncan because of how hard it was to kill the enemies on the way.
Oh, there are 2 mesmers, okay. Okay. Oh shit. Nice. PlayStation. Oh, which one is this? Oh yeah, the mess. Please stay. Nice. Okay, the mess is dead. Nice.
And then came the Duncan fights. It first took me 15 minutes to place the spirits as planned using swap. And then the whole fight with Duncan took 45 minutes.
Easy! Yay! I'm dead.
It felt very good to have it done. It showed again how versatile the mesmer is and how interesting the solo challenge is, when you have to combine build and tactics to achieve such things. Sadly, I don't think there is a way to complete most of these dungeons in hard mode with my ruleset, because in hard mode dungeon bosses are even stronger and most of them cannot be interrupted. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and will hopefully see you later.